Olhai. Kokand. The city in the Fergana region of Uzbekistan. History. Kokand, one of the most ancient cities of Central Asia. Under different names he was known since the 10th century, but his blossoming is the share of the 18th century. Throughout the history of the Kokand Khanate 29 governors were replaced. The last, Hudayarhan, who was remembered by ruthlessness and greed, became the most known of them. During board he lost a throne 4 times and again returned himself the power. I made for decoration of the city much. During board of Hudayarhan Guzara, mosques, madrasa were constructed. Then the city became the capital of the Kokand Khanate, existing from 1709 to 1876 in the territory of modern Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, the southern Kazakhstan and Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region of China. East Turkestan. Since 1876, as a part of the Fergana region of the Russian Empire, then the Uzbek Tsar, nowadays as a part of the Fergana region of Uzbekistan. Kokand connects 2 main routes to the Fergana Valley. Northwest on the mountains to Tashkent and western through Kokand, Tajikistan. Kokand kept very ancient structure. It consists of new and old parts. The new city in the 19th century was sated with trade enterprises, office buildings, banks and mansions of industrialists. In the old time remained the Hensky Palace, Urda, monuments of national inhabited architecture, mosque, madrasa and memorial constructions of the beginning of the 20th century. They conducted archaeological researches of monuments Mubarak, Tepekurgan, Eski Kurgan and others, located in the city of Kokand, found civilization traces. Several clay crocks of the 5th-6th centuries were found in Mubarak. The clay platform which in the 5th-7th centuries formed the basis of monumental construction. The remains of the fortification which is put up in the I-2 centuries from apex and adobe bricks which functioned more than 400 years. At a depth of 5 meters the lower occupation layer with materials of carved year is found. In Tepekurgan, located in the downtown, it is found, as well as in Mubarak, the platform of the early medieval period which formed the basis of the monumental lock with semicircular towers. From the lower layers the rich collection of pottery with red engobi which belongs to the 2nd centuries BB is received. All she is made on a potter's wheel by city skillful masters. In general, archaeological materials demonstrate that under these 2 monuments, Mubarak and Tepekurgan, the ancient history of Kokand is hidden. The received artifacts give the grounds to tell and reflect that no later than the 7th century BB a certain part of the territory of the present city was mastered under the irrigated agriculture. And the city appeared no later than the second half of the 2nd century BB and was the center of the Soksky oasis, that is the capital of regional possession which was a part of the confederative state Fergana. The Arab geographers and travelers of the 10th century, Alistokri and Ibn Hawqal mention the city of Hovakend or Kokand which on distance from the Shashti, Sardaria river and from Aski corresponds to present Kokand. The Arab travelers of the 10th century mention also many other cities and in general notice that, except the cities in Fergana, there was also a set of big villages. Abakana Kokand, being located on the Great Silkway between India and China on the one hand, both Persia and the Middle East with another, probably, I was the large center of trade of the time. In the 13th century it was destroyed by Mongols. The territory of future Kokand Khanate in 1709 was a part of the Bukhara Khanate. The ethnographer and the researcher of Central Asia 5. D. Nalivkin, based on Mulashamsi data, writes in the research work Short History of the Kokand Khanate. After Rustam Hagi Sultan's death, court proclaimed the governor Shaykhullah instead of the elder brother Pazalatalik, who went to Rishton and excited a rebellion after a while. In 1704 Shaykhullah with troops moved to Rishton and surrounded him, but in fight was killed. Then the army proclaimed Minor Shakrik's governor and continued a siege. Soon Pazalatalik died too, then Rishton gave up and recognized as the supreme governor of Shakrik. After Rishton's capture, the southern and northwest provinces of the Fergana Valley united, and Shakrik Bey became the first sovereign Bek and the founder of the uniform state. Master of Arts Mahmud Haj Tarija writes Turkestan in the research work. Shakrik constructed in the choice of the convenient location for construction of an urda and a barrow. The Sand people considered the place the territory between two sides where lived Kokand. Here they built the ark, and around it began to build palaces and buildings. In the subsequent, on the place of four small settlements, citadels, Kokand, Helvaka, Tuiktepe, Eskikurgan and Kokand. There was a large city of Kokand, the capital of the Kokand Khanate. The Kokand Khans from the Uzbek dynasty Iming sought to add to the dynasty gloss antiquities that was diligently promoted by local historians, building this dynasty even to Tamerlan and claiming as if she since ancient times owned all Fergana. According to local legends, the famous Sultan Baber, Tamerlan's descendant, went from Samarkand to India through Fergana, where one of his wives was resolved by the boy on the road between Hodhent and Kanabadam. The child named Altan Bashik. I died in 1545. The Uzbek sort wandering there Iming sheltered. From where and the name of a dynasty. When his origin was investigated, Altan Bashik was proclaimed by and lodged in ASCII. The rank Baya became hereditary in his posterity. One of descendants, Altan Bashik Abdurrahim, lodged in the Kishlak of Dikantoda, but subsequently the city of Kokand, which he founded about 1732 and which originally was called Claims Kurgan or Kala Arimbe, became the main place of his stay. By name the founder. City building, put at Shakrik, was continued by his sons Abir, Rakim, Bayam and Aab is Scarlet Karim. The convenient geographic location at an entrance to the rich Fergana Valley promoted that Kokand quickly grew and extended. The young state gradually got stronger, attaching to the possession everything new in new lands. Abdurkarim Baya was a younger brother Abdurrahim Baya, after his death inherited in 1734 the power in the Kokand Khanate. In 1740 he ordered to enclose Kokand with a new wall that helped at defense of the city against invasion the Zungar later. In 1745-1747 the Kokand Khanate underwent aggression the Zungar, which captured Ash, Andijan, Marjalan and besieged Kokand. At the critical moment Abdurrahim Bey showed talent of the military organizer, and the enemy was rejected from the capital. At Nargitabai, 1770–1798. In the country there came relative political tranquility, and there were favorable conditions for economic development. The Kokand historian Mullah Alim Makdum Hoshi describes government of the Kokand Khan Narbutabaya so. All are rich and equal, and each house is full of grain, and there was no other exit how to give grain for nothing. For a coin it was possible to buy a sheep, and I released this coin and Norbutakan introduced into circulation. From all directions there came immigrants and gathered here. Narbutabi was a patron of science and arts. At this time in Kokand active construction was conducted. In 1798 the construction of Madrasa of Narbutabaya was completed. During Narbutabaya's era several madrasa was constructed. In 1762 Suleimania, in 1789 Ashan Hankusha, in 1794 the Imam Baker, in 1795 Tura Hakim, in 1798 a name of Narbutabaya. Remained so far, and it is known also under the name Madrasa Mir. At the time in Kokand the famous cultural figures, Muhammad Hazi, Nader, Hashim Nazar Huvado, Hoza Maslakatuddin Ahmad Vali and his son Hoza Muhammad Nozaruddin lived and created. Narbutabi during all life admired before Hoza Muhammad Nozaruddin and Hoza Muhammad Jacobo Khandan was their muridi. He gave the sons Muhammad Amin, Muhammad Alim and Muhammad Amar Khan to Muhammad Nozaruddin on education too. In cultural construction the Kokand Khan Amar Khan tried to imitate Timur and created conditions for prosperity of science and literature in Kokand. In the period of Amar Khan's government mosques and madrasa in such cities as Kokand, Tashkent, Turkestan, Shymkent, Tusaris, Alayata were built. The new city of Shakrikan was founded. In those days in Kokand there was a peculiar center of literature. According to sources, more than 70 poets created here. At court of the Khan the best poets, artists and calligraphers were brought together. Amar Khan wrote verses under the literary pseudonym Amari. We were reached by the collection of his verses consisting from more than 1,000 lines. Only 307 verses were written in Uzbek, 159 more on Tajik. 1,700 auctions of a poetic soul familiar and 545 poems are stored in Institute of Oriental Studies of Abu Rayhan Biruni of Academy of Sciences of the Republic of Uzbekistan. 465 ghazals, 53 muqamas. The poetic stanza consisting of 5 hemistiches. 5 musaman. The poetic stanza consisting of 8 hemistiches. 6 masadas. The poetic stanza consisting of 6 hemistiches. And 16 tuyuk. The noticeable place in life of the yard was taken by the spouse Amar Khan Moklaraim. Nader. 1792–1842. She took active part in cultural life of the Khanate as the patroness of science, literature and art. The powerful literary trend created by Amari those 4 years allowed to appear in the Fergana Valley to the famous educators and democrat poets. Mukami, Farkat, Maki, Orazi, Tazali and others. Education, culture, humanity, these views of the poet Amiria turned into a powerful new wave of cultural development of age subsequently. Blossoming of Kokand continued at board Muhammad of Ali Khan and Mother Nadira. In historical and literary compositions of contemporaries of Nadira. Akimkana, Hatifa, Mushrifa and others. There are data that the poetess took active part in public and cultural life as the patroness of arts. Nader rendered assistance to development of sciences and literatures. I participated in construction of buildings of madrasa, caravanserai, malls. The poetess Uvezi, the tutor of her children, used her special trust and friendship. All life Nader's and her creativity are imbued with sympathy for oppressed and care of education of the people. She thought highly a literature role in spiritual life of society. 2 brick bridges conducted to the city. One of them, Geskaprik. An original design with the easy shops arranged for trade. Was constructed during an era of board of Madali Hanna. 1822-1842. And Hajdak Hoikushbeg. I existed till 1936. Second, the Razlik Bridge built at Hudoyer Khana by the local builder Musul Mankal in 1856 was located opposite the arch. As well as Geskaprik, he was forced by shops and had the overlappings protecting people from the scorching beams of the sun. Like medieval towns, Kokand was surrounded with a 18-kilometer pies-walled fortification with 12 gates. Deep ditches in 3 rows passing around external walls were filled with water. The construction of a fortification was finally completed at the Governor Sherlik Hanna in 1842-1843. The Hudoyer Hanna Palace, 1871-1873. Erda was built by Hudoyer Hanum. His scheduler and the architect call Waidula's World. Masters of Kokand, Rishtana, Kanibada, Shust, Namangan, Ertube and Kashgar participated in construction of the palace. The total area of the palace is 4 hectares, his base is raised by 3 meters. In the top part of a Darvazakona, the entrance portal. By the Arab letters it is written, Great said Muhammad Hudoyer Han. For this reason, for an entrance to the main gate from east side, the special road ramp is built. The palace was under construction in traditions of the Central Asian architecture. The high entrance portal with collar tile facing of dark blue light blue color, on each side which 2 minarets rise. On both sides of a facade long walls with decorative niches last, 2 more minarets are located on building corners. All facade of the palace was covered with a colorful carved typesetting mosaic. Names of those wonderful national masters which worked on construction and decoration of the palace are known are builders the Mullah Suyakal and Lips of Salakodza, Lips of Fazilhada, Ganjkar Lips Mamasadik and Lips Yoldash Nayarbashi. Especially master-facing workers from Rishton Abdullah's Lips, Lips Jamil, Lips Jalil and Lips Saker caused a stir. Their art was highly appreciated by the governor of Kokand. According to the order of Hudoyer Hanna, on a facade of the southern wing of the palace the inscription was made handwriting of Kufa. The artist whose art is similar to Beksid's art decorated stone plates. Every year Kokand became more and more developed city, his territory steadily grew. The Hungarian traveller of Vamburi wrote that Kokand on the occupied space was in 6 times more of Khiva, by 4 times, Tehran and twice, Bukhara. In length he lasted on 16 versts, and in width, on 5 versts. In the city 1-story houses with the going outside blind clay fences prevailed. The city was divided into 4 parts. Bakke, Sarymazarski, Hodzensky, Rishtansky and Marjalan. Each of them consisted of quarters, which at the beginning of the 20th century was 72, and in them in total there were about 1,000 yards, 120 schools. Everyone was visited by from 10 to 20 pupils, and 40 madrasas. The city during blossoming of the Kokand Khanate was the main religious center of all Fergana region, and in more than 300 mosques worked. The entrance to the city was carried out through 12 gate called depending on where they conducted, from the direction of the roads leaving them. Northern Sarymazarski, Kendziravansky and Namangan. Southern Soksky, Katagansky and Asfara. Western Hodzensky, Kukluksky and Gaziagliksky. East Rishtansky, Chimyansky and Marjalan. On February 19, 1876 Kokand was conquered by the Russian troops under supervision of the General Skobelev. The Khanate was abolished by Russia, and Kokand was included into the educated Fergana region as a part of the Turkestan Governorate General of the Russian Empire, having become the administrative center of the Kokand County. After accession of Kokand to Russia, the Hansky Palace was turned into fortress, and through city quarters Macaulay highways along which buildings of the European architecture appeared are laid. The city quickly turned into the large center of capitalist activity in Turkestan, surpassing in the number of banks even Tashkent. For about 3 months, from November 27, 1917 to February 22, 1918, the city of Kokand was the center of the unrecognized state, the Turkestan Autonomy. The official name, Turkestani Mukhtariyat. Under Mustafa Shakaya's leadership. It existed in the territory of modern Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. At the time in territories of Semirechensky, Sirdarya and Fergana regions of the Turkestan Governorate General of the Russian Empire. According to a number of historians, the Turkestan Autonomy was the first democratic and secular independent state in Central Asia. Uzbek Sur. On February 12, 1918 Ergashis. Basmachis committed an assault on the Kokand fortress which was beaten off by parts of Urki. In 3 days of a part of the Kokand Autonomy and Basmachis after persistent street fights pushed aside groups of Red Guard in fortress and blocked her. On April 11, 1919 the Soviet troops beat Madaminbek's Basmachis and K. Osipev's Belapovatanets at Kokand and Sarovo Station. In June 1920 the Soviet Special Group of P. Paramanov beat the remained Basmachis near the city of Kokand. In 1920 the capital of the Fergana region was transferred to Kokand from Skobelev. In 1924 after national delimitation Kokand was a part of the Uzbek Sur. Geography. Kokand is located in the east of Uzbekistan, in the southwest part of the Fergana Valley. He is in 228 km to the southeast of the capital of Uzbekistan, Tashkent, in 115 km to the west of Andijan and in 88 km to the west of Fergana. Professor 1. Baldafai considered that Russians adopted the word Tsart from Kazakhs for whom this word had frankly pejorative shade. Sartovsky language in fact didn't exist. The model of a census of 1897 resulted in need to establish pseudo-Sartovsky language together with the pseudo-nation. Some ambitious colonial schedulers of language began to write grammars and dictionaries of Sartovsky language. The idea of Sartovsky language of an Ostromov was the project with a distant site. Nevertheless, this experiment was doomed to a failure. The population in 1911. Only 118,854 persons. From them grades -92505. 78%. Uzbeks 17120. 14%. Russians 4738. 4%. The population in the 21st century. As of January 1, 2016, the population was more than 239,900 inhabitants. Kokand is one of 3 large cities of the Fergana region along with Fergana and Marjalan. The main structure of the population is made by Uzbeks. More than 90%. But in the city also there live representatives more than 30 nationalities. Economy. Kokand is the center of chemical, mechanical, food and light industry. The volume of the products which are turned out at the large industrial enterprises in 2006 was 72.9 billion sum. Specific weight of the enterprises for industries is food -32. 2%. Jest Kokand maxillary, Jest Kokand Yogmo, Shvefektiv oil, Jest Mastona. Chemical -28%. Jest Kokandafs, Jest Kokand Spirt. Tlopkoprarabativishai -27.4%. Machine building -6.6%. Jest Kokand Mash and else Electromash, Jest Kokand mechanical plant. Ush Kokand Mechanika V, Creek/Co Mechanika Zavodi or Jest Motortamalash. Easy -5.8%. Jest Uligbek and else Shoy Atlas, Shkofra. Kokand is also large railway station. Here management of the Fergana Regional Railway Junction. Office of the railroad is located. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.